Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, class. Welcome back to my class, speaking class. Here, I would like to review about your last assignment. I have given you a task about describing someone you admire. Okay, let's have a look at the previous task that I have given to you. This is the task. I ask you to talk about someone you are proud of or someone you admire at. It can be your friend or your member of the family, or it can be an idol or public figure. But you can start from the closest one, like your friend, for example. You can talk about who is she or he, and then when did you meet her, or where did you meet her or him at the first time. And lastly, you can talk about the reason why you admire him, her so much. Okay, everybody, so I think doing a speaking task is easy. It's just a piece of cake if you know how you should proceed with it. So there are two things that you should know actually. The first one is about what to talk, and the second one is about how to talk. Well, let's give you a little explanation about what to talk. Yeah, it means that something you are going to talk. It can be about the content, yeah, related to the ideas that you should inform to the people, that you should talk to the people. When I am asked to describe someone I admire at what should I do? What should I say first? And then what should I say after that? And what should I say in the end of my speech or my talk? Yeah, you should know about that. Well, this guidance, the questions in this assignment is actually I have the purpose to give you a little ideas on how to structure your talk. First, you can talk about who is she or he. Maybe she's your friend, maybe she's a public figure, maybe he's the member of your family. Yeah, you can talk about that. And then go on to the next session. You can talk about how long you have been with him or her, or how long you have known about her or him. Or in other words, you can say when did you meet her or him. You can tell us or inform us about the time at the first time you meet him or her, especially in the context of talking about friends, yeah. But if you talk about family, of course, you do not need to talk when did you meet her or him, of course, because you are a member of the family, you meet her or him in your family. Okay, you can also talk about the place, yeah, the place where you meet her or him at the first time. Maybe it is in the school, maybe in a competition, or maybe in a public places. And lastly, everybody, you can structure your talk by giving the content about the reason why you admire her or him so much. And here you can talk more and more about their characteristics, especially the positive one, because you talk about someone you admire and well, everybody, I hope that you can talk about all of them, all of this matter about 1 up to 2 minutes, but maybe more than that, it's okay. So as long as your speech or your talk is clear, it's okay to have a longer talk. Alright, everybody, next on, I'd like to give you an insight about possible ideas that you can use if you talk about your friend, for example. You talk about a friend you are admiring. You can talk about his or her great performance in the campus or in the school, for example. You can also talk about your friend's achievement in doing a good job in their work or business. Or probably you can also talk about something more specific, like the things that your friends are struggling. For example, your friends are struggling to get their master degree, or your friends are struggling to achieve better life. They are struggling by selling something to finish their study, for example, and you are proud of their struggle. You are proud of their hard working. You can also talk about that, not only related to the success or achievement, but you can also talk about your feeling toward them, your admiration related to the positive characteristic that she or he has. Alright then, so you can also talk about someone that is very kind to you, really takes care of you probably. Maybe you can call it as a friend in need, a friend indeed, yeah. So you can talk about your friend that really takes care of you, that's really kind to you and generous to you. Yeah, that can be the idea to talk about someone you admire. And lastly, if you talk about someone, you can also talk about her or his extraordinary activities like volunteering or raising money for the poor, because those activities are rarely done by people. Only the people with a what is it? Warm-hearted, yeah, warm-hearted people. I'm so sorry. So with the people like poor people, and then like the people who are struggling for their life, and then your friend gives them something or gives them support. Yeah, you can also talk about that. You can talk about your friends that really takes care of the poor, really takes care of someone underprivileged. Yeah, I think that's also a good idea. And there are, of course, still many ideas, many possible ideas that you can use to talk about someone you admire. And the list that I have given to you here, it's just for stimulating your idea. I believe that you have more and more great ideas. Okay, next let's talk about how, yeah. After we talk about what to talk means the content of your talk. Now let's move on to the how to talk. So how will you talk first? In the beginning, how will you start the talk? You can start your talk by using several phrases like this. In my separate video, I prefer to use the second one I'd like to talk about, but it's possible for you to use other introductory phrases or expressions. Like number one, the one I'd like to tell you about is, yeah, the one I'd like to tell you about is my friend or my idol or probably a public figure, a popular figure in your country. Okay, good. And then let's have a look at number three. You can also use let me tell you about someone I admire, about someone I really look up into, or about someone I am proud of. And you can also use number four. Personally, I'd like to say blah blah blah. Yeah, instead of using the word I would, you can also contract it. The phrase I would becomes I'd. Yeah, in speaking, everybody, it's better for you if you can contract the word. Yeah, it's not like in formal writing. In formal writing, you are not allowed to make contraction. So when you say I would like, you just write I would like. You should not contract the word I and would becomes I'd. So in speaking, it's different. You can use the contraction, especially in informal speaking. It is regarded as very good or very excellent if you can use contraction form. Why? Because speaking in the natural situation, native speaker usually contract the word, contract the phrases, like when they say, well, I'm gonna tell you, instead of saying I'm going to tell you, they will say I'm gonna tell you, or I wanna have some cake. For example, they do not say I want to have some cake, but naturally or informally they will say I wanna have some cake. Yes, so you can use like the word gonna, wanna, and you can also you can also use the contraction form like I'd like to blah blah blah, or I'll show you blah blah blah. Yes, just an intermezzo. And next on, number five, I'm going to tell you about, or I'm gonna tell you about is also okay, like what I have reviewed before. So everyone, you can use these phrases or expressions, but it is not limited to these expressions. You can use your own expression. But most importantly, you can use the starter or introductory expressions like this to introduce your talk before you talk further about someone you admire. Okay, next on everybody, let's have a look at the useful phrases you can use to introduce or you can use to talk about your admiration. For example, I admire her for blah blah blah. I admire her for her generous spirit. I admire him for his positive thinking. I admire her for her excellence in career. Yeah.